Alright, so let's discuss on the software development life cycle. We will discuss about the phases and also the different models of the software development life cycle. Okay, so I hope everybody first knows what is the meaning of software. What is a software? We discussed in our demo session, right? So what is a software? It is nothing but set of programs which is developed in order to automate the business activities. Okay, so this is nothing but our software. Now there are certain steps that you got to follow in order to develop this software. So we will see what are those steps that you got to follow in order to develop the software. And this step-by-step approach which we use in order to develop the software, we term it as software development life cycle. In short, you can call it as SDLC, the software development life cycle, which is nothing but a structured step-by-step approach for developing the software or information systems. Then what are these steps? Okay, let's see what are the different steps of development of the software. So we start from the scope identification, then we go for the planning, analysis, design, development, testing and debugging, deployment or installation, user training and user acceptance. So these are the different steps that we got to follow in order to develop the software. Okay, so let's try to understand these different phases. So for the simplicity, I will make use of a table. Okay, so we will make a table for this SDLC. In first column, I will list down all the phases for you. Okay, and then, so what you have to remember here, what exactly is done in each and every phase. Okay, who is involved in these phases and what are the documents that are prepared in each of these phases. These are the 4 important things that you got to remember. Okay, so what is the first phase? The first phase is scope identification. Okay, what is the first phase? It is the scope identification. Let's see what exactly happens here. Okay, so we will consider one general example wherein you got to construct a house. Okay, let's assume that you want to construct a house. So tell me now, who wants to construct a house? Who is going to help me with this example? Yes, anybody interested to help me with this? Dhruvita, Jayanti, Lakshmi, Sarita, Shilpa, Sridevi, Rushali, anybody? Okay, Dhruvita, you'll help me? Good. Okay, let me unmute you, Dhruvita. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me, Dhruvita?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So now you got to tell me what kind of house do you want? You are my client. Okay. Let's assume that
Okay.
I'm your engineer. I would be constructing a house for you. But before I construct a house for you, you got to tell me, right? What kind of house do you want? So tell me, Dhruvita, what kind of house you want?
I want a big house.
Okay, you want a big one?
Four bedroom.
You want a 4 bedroom? Okay, very good.
Yeah. 3 bath. 9-foot ceiling.
Okay, ceiling. Yeah. Okay.
Near to school, near to my office, which is.
Okay, that is about the location.
Okay, engineer. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Big ceiling and big lawn.
Okay, you want a lawn. Fine.
Swimming pool.
You want a swimming pool. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, with new and modern appliances.
Okay.
Mm,
So you want all the appliances also. All right. Okay.
all new things, all modern,
Yeah, you
updated
want
new
it.
things.
Yes. Okay, fine. So this is what, from your side, you have given me some of the requirements. But as an engineer, for me to construct the house, this is not sufficient. Okay. So I will start asking you the questions now. Okay.
Okay.
So you wanted 4 bedrooms. Do you want, a
Mm-hmm.
single floor, or you want to go for a duplex house?
A single floor.
You want to go for a single floor. Okay. So you do not want the duplex house. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Then you said lawn. So you want a big lawn, small lawn. What kind of lawn do you want?
A small lawn so that I can maintain
Yeah.
easily.
Okay, sure. We will make a small lawn for you. And then you said you want a swimming pool. Fine. So you
Yeah.
want it in front of your house or in your backyard, or you want it within your house? Where do you want it?
Backyard.
You want it in the backyard. Okay. So you said appliances. Let's take, you want a kitchen also. So what kind of kitchen you want? You want a modern kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I will add it. What about the parking place? How many cars do you have?
Three cars we need to be
Okay,
at
you need to
least space.
park 3 cars. Fine. So for parking 3 cars, I will, make some space for you. Okay. And then, do you want a gym at your house?
Mm, gym, not so important. No.
Yeah. No. Maybe, it is near to your house, so you don't need it. Right. So what am I doing here, Dhruvita?
Mm.
First, I asked you what are your requirements. I made note of it. Then I asked you some more questions. I tried to collect more information from you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm.
when you're telling me the requirements, I have made note of everything. So this one, I will put it into the document. Okay. So let's assume this is our
Mm-hmm.
document. Now I
Mm.
want you to go through this once and give me the confirmation if everything is as per our conversation. Everything is
Yes,
fine?
it's everything as per our conversation.
Okay.
Yes.
It means that you have approved. Okay. Now I can proceed
Yes.
further.
Yes.
So this is nothing but identification of the scope of your project. Okay. So as an engineer, I will be,
Mm-hmm.
setting up a meeting with my client, and then I will try to collect all the requirements that are related to the project. Okay. So the similar
Mm.
thing is done even in the IT. Okay. The business analyst,
Mm.
he meets the client. Okay. And he collects all
Mm.
the requirements. Let's say our client is Bank of America and they want to develop the e-banking system. Okay.
Mm.
I mean the internet banking. So we try to collect the requirements from them. First they will tell us all their requirements, and if we need some more information we ask them, and then we make note of all the requirements. Okay. So this is nothing but the
Okay.
scope identification. All these details go into a document which is called as the business requirement document. Okay. It is called as what? Business
Mm.
requirement document. Okay. So let's fill out our table. So what happens here? We gather our business requirements. Who is involved? Business analyst is involved.
Business list.
Right. What documents do you prepare here? We prepare the business requirement document, BRD. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. Okay. Thanks, Dhruvita.
No, thanks.
Okay. So what is the next phase? Now it's time to do the planning. Okay. So let's do the planning now. Alright. And in the planning, we got to do the scheduling and we got to do the budgeting. Okay. Means I got to estimate the cost now. Our client has given us all the requirements. Okay. We got to estimate how much it is going to cost for them. Okay, and we also got to give them the schedule. Let's say after how many days we will be able to release their first version. Okay, so we got to give them a schedule. And not just to the client, even to the entire project team, we need to release the schedule. When are we going to start with the analysis? When will the testing start? When will the development start? So we got to prepare a complete schedule. And this planning process will be done by our project manager. Okay. So who does it? It will be done by the project manager because he is the head of the project. He takes care of all the controlling and monitoring activities. And he puts this schedule and budget into a document. It is called as a project plan document. Okay. Then after this, analysis. Okay. Now we have collected all these requirements from Dhruvita to construct her house. But if I give these two laborers, will they be able to work on it? They will not be able to work on it. Because if I tell them for parking of 3 cars, we want a space there. Okay, so they will ask, tell us the dimensions. Okay, like 20 by 30, 10 by 30. So you got to tell them the dimensions. Okay. Then let's say I just a small lawn. Again, they ask the dimensions here. Okay. And then 4 bedrooms and 3 bath. They will ask which bedroom, where should be these 3 bath. Okay. Should there be a common bath? So they are going to ask us the information. Okay. Ceiling. What kind of ceiling do you want? Do you want a plain one or you want it to be some designer? They will ask us. So these people require more of technical information which we cannot expect from our client. Now Dhruvita cannot tell the dimensions. Okay. So for the laborers, we got to provide all the dimensions, right? And we got to provide them with what is the thickness of the wall, what should be the height of the wall, what kind of material to be used, in what composition they are supposed to use it. Okay. What material to be used for windows and doors, what kind of flooring to be used, what should be the type of color on the walls. Dhruvita can tell us the color, but what type of color to be used, what is good for her house, we got to decide it. Okay, no doubt we'll be discussing with her, but we can suggest her on this. Right. So all these technical things Dhruvita cannot tell us because she is not a technical person. She is a common person and she has given us the requirement in a common way. So these requirements have to be converted into the technical specifications and then shared with our laborers. Similarly here, now your client has said, okay, he wants the funds transfer, he wants the account summary. So he has given us the requirements. Okay. But we cannot give these requirements directly to our designers or our developers. We got to give them the specification. Okay, let's say login. Okay, for login, it's user ID, it's password. But what is accepted here as a user ID? Should we allow the user to, use the account number? Should we assign some new user ID? What should this user ID contain? Whether it should contain some 7-digit, or should we allow him to enter his email ID? Okay, or we should have some combination of like alpha and numeric. So what kind of user ID? How many characters should it be? We got to provide the specification here. Okay, and then let's say funds transfer. So what are the steps for funds transfer? We got to inform it to our developer. Let's say first time we have to register a payee. While we register the payee, we need his details like his name, his account number, what is the bank in which he has the account, in which branch he has the account, okay, what is his location, right? So we got to provide all such information when we first time register the payee. And then after the confirmation, we can make the payment to him. And while making the payment, what are the different information that we want to add. Let's say we got to add the name of the payee. We can select one of them, enter the account number, enter the amount here. Okay, whether we want to schedule it for tomorrow or we want to transfer it right away. Okay, so even in the funds transfer, there are so many technical specifications which we got to give to our developer. And not just this, okay, he should also get the look and feel of it, the design, how the website should look like. Okay, for funds transfer, should we create a button or should we just create a link? Okay, if we are creating the website, then obviously we should have a logo, we should have the name of the company, right? We should have some contact information here. So how should the page look like, right? And what should be color of this? What should be the theme of this? So like this, we got to give all the technical specifications to our developer. I mean, we need not create the website, but the business analyst has to create the mock-up. Okay, nothing but a two-dimensional images he got to create so that the developer gets an idea what should be the look of the website. Okay, whether to be used a button or a hyperlink, what to be used. If this button is clicked, should we open a new window? Should we open a new tab here? Okay, what to be done? Or should we, open a pop-up? What should exactly be done? So all this kind of diagrammatic information plus the specification has to be shared with our developer so that he is able to develop the software. So here what we do, this business requirements are converted into the technical specifications. By whom it can be done? Again by the business analyst. And the document that he prepares, it is called as the system requirements specification or technical specification document. Okay, functional specification document, all are one and the same. Okay, SRS, FSD, all are one and the same. Okay, fine. So after analysis, what next? Design. Design of the software. What is exactly done here? Obviously the design. Okay, who is involved? We call him as an architect or we also call him as a designer. Document that is prepared, it is called as the design document. Okay, so let's say now this website here, our internet banking software, it needs the database in the backend, right? Because all the information of the customers have to be stored. So this database will contain the tables, means the customer information will be storing it in the form of tables so that it looks in an organized way. It will contain the different columns, what kind of data to be entered, what are the different tables, what is the relationship between the tables. So all these things have to be decided. This is nothing but the database design. And on the front end also the the user interface has to be designed. Okay, the logic has to be written. What are the steps to be followed? Okay, how many programs to be written? So the entire logic development has to be done by the designer. Design of the user interface, design of the database has to be done by the architect. Okay, in the design phase. After that, based on this logic, we got to do the development. Okay, so what happens in the development? Programs are written. Who got to write these programs? It is the developer who writes the programs, right? Each one of us know. Developer is very popular, right? Okay. We also call him as a programmer. He writes the programs for us. And then what documents he prepares? So when he's writing programs, he got to save it, right? So where will he save it? He will save it in the files and we call them as program files. More technical word is source code document. Okay, it is called as what? Source code document. Then after this, now our software is ready. What next? Obviously, we got to test it. Okay, so next step is testing. What exactly happens here? We will learn about it throughout the course. Who is involved? QA is involved. We also call him as what? Software tester or QA analyst. Okay, or we can call him as test engineer. Right? All these roles are one and the same. QA analyst, software tester, test engineer, right? So when you want to search the job, you can give the different kinds of search. What documents he prepares? This also we will learn it in detail throughout the course. Okay. Next. After testing, what we have to do? Now it is a time for us to release the software to the client. Okay. Release means what? We should install the software on the client machine. It is called as deployment. It is a technical terminology. Okay. Deployment or installation, both are one and the same. So the software has to be installed on the client machine. So what happens here? You do the installation here. Who does it? It will be done by the developers, obviously, with the help of system admin. Okay. And the document that we prepare here, we call it as installation manual, which will contain all the steps to install the software, system specification or the system requirements. Okay. Then after that, we have the user acceptance testing or the user training. Okay, now when you give the new software, okay, let's say there are bank employees, you give them a new software. Do you think they'll be able to use it? No, because they are common people. Okay, they are bank employees, not the software engineers, right? So they will not be able to use it right away. We got to train them how to use the software. For example, now you have learned the manual testing, let's say. I will give you an automation testing tool, QTP. I tell you to work on it. Can you work on it? You cannot work. We got to train you on the new software that we give you, right? So that is nothing but user training. So what is done here? Here the users are going to do the testing and plus we give them the training. Okay. So who is involved here from our IT project team? It is a business analyst who is involved. And the user testing will be done by whom? It is called user acceptance testing. So who does the testing? Users do the testing. Okay. And what documents are prepared here? We call it as a user manual. Okay. So this is nothing but the software development life cycle. The different steps, what is exactly done, who is involved, and what documents we prepare. Okay. Programs, but he prepares a kind of flow chart wherein it will show the flow of the programs. Okay, which are the different functions to be created, which are the different variables to be created. So he will give the logic design. And what developers will do? They will convert it into the code. Means programs are written. The syntax or the commands are written. Okay. So that is what a programmer is going to do. Okay. So clear, Lakshmi? Okay. Thank you, Shilpa. All right. Okay. Phoebe also tries to give the answer. Gives the details as per the specification. Okay. Correct. Okay. Jayanti has a question. Could you please explain the database? Yes. Tell me who would like to answer about the database. What is the meaning of database? Who would like to answer this? Yes. What is the meaning of database? Okay. Right, Phoebe. It is the place where the data is stored in an organized way in the form of tables. Okay. So that is called as a database. For example, let's say, we have so many customers of the bank, right? We got to store all the information related to those customers. Name of the customer, okay? Then address of the customer, the contact details, their account ID, and then the transactions of the customer. So all of them have to be stored. So where do you store this data? We need some place, right? So that place is nothing but database. Now we cannot, directly dump all the data. We got to organize it. We will store it in the form of tables. Okay, so that is called as database. Right, like a master plan for a house. Okay, fine. So now I hope everybody is clear with the software development life cycle. Now we considered as an example of construction of a house. And we had some steps. We went to a particular engineer who is specialized in the construction of the house. Let's say we want to construct an auditorium, or we want to construct a shopping mall. So in that case, the approach that our engineer follows is going to be different, right? The approach to construct a house is different. The approach to construct an auditorium is going to be different, right? Similarly, to develop the different types of software under the different scenario, we got to follow different approach. Okay, let me repeat again. In order to develop the different types of software under the different scenario, we got to follow a different approach. And these approaches are nothing but, we call them as SDLC models. Okay, we call them as what? We call them as models. So there are different models that are available. Let's see that. Okay, so we have waterfall model, we have the V model, spiral model, and then the agile scrum model. Okay, so let's try to understand these models. The first model is waterfall model. If you observe these, the the steps do not change. The steps are going to be the same, but the way how we perform these steps differs. Now the name itself says, okay, waterfall. How does a water flow? In a single direction, from top to bottom. Have you seen the waterfall, which moves from bottom to up? No, that is not at all called as a waterfall. Similarly, here also, we are going to move from step number 1 to step number 2, 3, 4, and so on. And once you reach any step, you do not go to the previous steps. Means this is a sequential design process. One step has to be executed after another step. Okay, so we call it as what? Sequential design process, right? But there is one drawback over here. Now let's say we are into the development phase. Our client wants to make some changes. Let's say we are constructing the house for Dhruvita. Then she visits her friend's house, sees something that is new. Okay, a different kind of kitchen, right? Much more, modern than we are implementing for her. So she will come to us and she will give the change for us. Okay, so she needs a new type of kitchen. She will give this change requirement for us. But if we are following the waterfall model, we will not be able to accept the change. She has to adjust with whatever we are making for her, right? So this is nothing but the waterfall model's drawback. We cannot go back to the previous phases and we cannot accept the changes in the requirement. Because any changes we have to implement, again we have to start. We got to plan for that new requirement. We got to analyze that new requirement, prepare a design for that new requirement, right? But there is no look back here, no going to the previous phases. Then why it is used? Okay, it has a drawback. Why it is used? In case the projects are smaller or if they are low budget project, we go for waterfall model. and if the client has very clear requirements. What are the conditions? The client should have the clear requirements at the beginning. The project should be smaller, means few pages or few windows to be developed. The budget is low. In case of these three conditions, we go for the waterfall model. And what is the major drawback? We cannot implement the changes in the requirement. Okay. So here I have listed down. You can go through these. So that was a waterfall model. Next is the V model. It is nothing but the variant of the waterfall model itself. But the difference is here, we are going to do the testing at each level. It is in the shape of V. Okay, that is why, basically it is called as V model. That is one reason. Another reason is we have verification on one side, validation on the other side, which starts from V. Other reason why it is called as V model. Okay. Now you can see that at the module design level, we do the unit testing. At architecture level, we do the integration testing. At specification design level, we do the system testing. At the requirements level, we do the acceptance testing, right? So at the different levels, we are doing the different types of